And thank you for joining today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure your schedule's definitely busy, and also, during these unique times for you to make the time to meet, I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I know we've been working on this for a little bit, and yeah, things are kind of slowing down a little bit right now. But I'm in the on the brink of a lot of auditions right now. Things are starting to heat up again in Atlanta. We're really excited for all the projects coming on board, which I can talk a little bit about, but without giving away too much. But it's exciting, man. Exciting for viewers, for some new content. Finally, getting some stuff on board.
Excellent. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
a lot of the actors that I've been speaking with, the schedule's been kind of picking up, and a lot
Hmm.
of counties and cities are now allowing some shooting to finally take place. So uh,
Sure.
great to see, kind of at least kind of Hollywood picking back up to kind of what it
Indeed.
once was. So that's good.
For sure.
No, great. Thank you for joining today. For the
Thank you.
folks that aren't familiar with Rick Perez, so a lot of folks, a lot of fans are really anticipating this upcoming season of Cobra Kai 3. So I know I'm sure you've been getting a lot of questions around Cobra Kai. But Rick Perez has also been on a lot of TV shows. I know I've also seen you in The Resident. You've been on some shows there, and
Mhm.
also did an appearance on Ozark. It's one of my favorite
Correct.
shows as well too. So great to see. I know there's a lot of upcoming projects that you're working on. You mentioned some auditions as well, so I definitely want to get into kind of what's coming in the future. But
Sure.
before we begin, kind of what got you started into in acting?
Oh, as a little kid, and I say this usually on my podcast, I want to make sure it's the same because this is how it started. The genesis of it all was when I was around 5 years old. My dad, growing up in Brooklyn, the 70s and 80s was always it's a very gritty time, very dark time, and to try to remove his kids from that kind of environment at the time was to get us into the movie theaters, and that's like your escape from reality. So around 5 years old, he took me. I will never forget. It's the Murray Hill Theater in Manhattan, 1977 around. He took me to see this movie that didn't really take on too much in the very beginning. It was called Star Wars.
Ooh,
That's that was the
yeah, I heard
movie,
that.
my first movie ever taking me to. And again, Disney agrees that it was a hit to be made. But
Wow.
really excited about just being in front of the screen. And as a kid, I just remember they had it in a way that it was like a panoramic. They actually had like multiple screens in this theater, and it was state of the art at the time. And just looking around and just watching everybody's eyes as big as saucers, like my own, going, "Wow, look at this! The sounds, just the." And I said, "You know what, man? I would love, as a 5 year old, even at 5 years old, looking around, going, man, I would love to be able to do that same thing to somebody in the audience one day, just to be up there, creating that emotion, that raw emotion." And I've been given just tremendous opportunities here later on in life. It's just weird how things happen for me, but I'm very fortunate and very just having so much fun doing this. It's a true, it's surreal.
That's,
Let's just
and,
put it
and
to you that way. It's
and
surreal.
you're originally from Brooklyn, was that correct? New York.
Indeed, born Brooklyn, born and raised through and through.
Awesome.
Yep.
And where are you currently residing now?
Well, I'm in Atlanta right now because this is the new Hollywood, as they say. They call it Atlanta, Atlanta Wood, or ATL Wood, they call it, or Yollywood. I've been told
Yeah.
there's so many different variations, but there is a lot of projects happening here. Um, so this is a great place to kind of hang my hat for now.
Awesome. I do want to jump into my next question, but I'd hate myself if I
Sure.
didn't ask you this because you mentioned Star Wars earlier. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, the original two. Well, the first two. The Return of the Jedi was great, but I mean, growing up, the first one was great, but Empire Strikes Back probably the best one in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. And have you had a chance to watch the new TV show, The Mandalorian, on Disney
Oh,
Plus?
one of my favorite. I cannot wait till it comes out in a few weeks. I wish we can binge watch them all, but they kind of tease you. They make you wait till every Friday. But my whole family loves The Mandalorian. Love it, love it, love it,
Yeah,
love
yeah. I know they
it. I
just
love baby Yoda, baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda is awesome. I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of theories around Baby Yoda.
Hmm.
Whether it's kind of I think they come from the same lineage as actual Yoda, or people are saying that it might be Yoda's um, offspring. But yeah, there's a bunch of theories on what's going to happen with him. But he seems like he's got some additional powers that we haven't seen from any of the Jedi before. So no, I can't wait to see the new.
Oh yeah, how they weave that into the canon, well, the new canon, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how they put that in there. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And you mentioned also, kind of, with the auditions in Atlanta. Cobra Kai is it filmed in Atlanta, or is that where the audition?
Yes, so it's filmed in LA and here in Atlanta. So we have the sound stage here, and they do some ADR work and some other scenes out in LA. So it's split between the two.
Excellent. And I know, definitely I want to be respectful on things that, you can't share around Cobra Kai, but kind of, what was the audition process like? Kind of how did you find yourself auditioning for the role, and what can you share with some of the experiences that you had on set?
Sure, that's a great question. Great question. I can answer that. So I had gotten the audition from my agent. It must have been around August, a little around August, early August, perhaps, maybe late July, if I'm not mistaken. So I saw the part, I auditioned, and I kind of, like most actors, we do our part and then we send it off. And I had gone away. It was my 20th anniversary, my wedding anniversary, and I left the country with my wife. And we had choppy signal where we're at, that part of the world. So it was so weird that I said, you know what, I'm going to put social media kind of away for a little bit. Then when I finally picked up my phone, I said, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I said, honey, look at this. I just booked this role. And it's crazy because I was a huge fan of the show beforehand. So I already knew what the show was about. And just to get the honor to be able to be part of that. And you knew right off the bat with the writers, John, Josh, and Hayden. I mean, these guys have it all together. They have, it's like lightning in a bottle, they call it. They know these guys, they pay proper homage to the original story. And we knew there was something special there. Anybody who gets the honor of being to touch that piece of movie history in the making, we knew that it was something special, even was on YouTube. And now that it's finally found its rightful place in Netflix, for the whole world to see, it's just an honor to be part of that project. But it was a surreal moment for me. And the fans will definitely be blown away season 3 for sure and beyond.
Excellent. I know you probably can't mention if you worked with Ralph Macchio or William Zabka, but what was it like kind of seeing those guys? I did see some photos with the after party
Yes.
with them as well. So kind of what's it like, working with those guys and kind of interacting with those guys?
These guys are just the real McCoy. They are just the consummate actors. Tremendous talent there, but they're just really great-hearted people too. They're giving. They're great with direction, and just wonderful folks to work with. You don't even feel like it's working. You feel like you're working with friends. You're just meeting up with friends. These guys were just so convivial and friendly and warm and welcoming. It just made those days just that much more pleasant, if you will. But these guys are fantastic. I mean, they really are great guys. Everybody, from production, writers, everybody, just the whole team was like a family. And a lot of the folks like myself here in Atlanta, a lot of the other character actors, we are also very tight knit, and it's like a family here. We look out for each other, and we raise each other up, if you will. I don't know if you've met with any of the other folks, Susan or Aaron.
Yeah.
Or Matt.
Yeah, I've actually spoke with Susan a few times. We actually have something lined up next week. But yeah, no, everyone that I've interacted with is really warm, down to earth. You just feel like you're talking to someone, like a normal person, which, obviously everybody is. But just
Sure.
Just kind of bringing that back to reality is great.
Mm-hmm.
I know you mentioned that you were a fan of Cobra Kai before obviously joining the cast. So
Absolutely.
I guess. So prior to joining the show, were you Team Cobra Kai or Team Miyagi-Do?
Oh, Cobra Kai all the way. That's an easy one, but again, paying proper, for obviously rest in peace, Pat Morita. That whole, this would not be here if it was not for the original 3 movies. So, but the Cobra Kai spin was just so badass. I mean, to be part of that, it's surreal. It's surreal, for sure.
As far as some of the new cast, you got Zolo and the next generation of casts. Kind of what was it like working with them? A lot of them, you see kind of the outtakes and some of these takes. A lot of them are in good shape. I mean, a lot of them are very athletic, very
Indeed.
flexible as well too. So kind of what was it like kind of seeing those guys on set?
Well, working with you have your stunt coordinators there and what have you, and they have just the best in the business. I mean, fantastic folks. But a lot of these guys are young and they can do their own stunts, and they do have helpers, of course, working with them. But a lot of these things that you see are from them, and very well choreographed. So the entire team works. It takes a village, as you know, in these cases, and you can see it's proof positive when you see the shows. It's just, you know, that there's no CGI involved. There's nothing like that. These guys are really getting in there, and they're taking a lot of bumps and bruises, as I felt in my last project. So it happens if you're able to do a lot of these things, you're better off getting involved and get your hands dirty. If you can get away without getting too hurt, but things happen on set, and I'm sure you've heard that from many other interviews from actors throughout the years. You're going to take a couple falls, and those are the things you talk about. You know,
Yeah.
you can talk about them after and say, "Oh, I remember that." I was watching a clip recently about Tom Cruise. He was in, I think, one of his Mission Impossible movies, and he actually broke his ankle in one of the dives off of a building, and he just grabbed onto something, but he just ran through the scene, and you're like, "Wow, did that really happen?" Yeah, it happens. You get bruised up. It
Yeah.
just makes more, for more realistic movie. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
want to see somebody get hurt, but it happens. These things happen.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, I've met with Sean Kanan, it was Mike Barnes in Karate Kid 3, and I also
Hmm.
spoke with Michael Cavalieri, who's in the next Karate Kid. But Sean, we didn't discuss this on the interview, but I remember reading up on this, a while back, that he actually got injured doing it was an actual shot that they did repetitively. I think it was the scene where he basically gets thrown in from Mr. Miyagi, where Miyagi throws him through the door.
Hmm.
And I think they did that take maybe like 20, 30 times. And this is just what I'd read. And apparently a few weeks later, he was just out. And I think he passed out or had some internal bleeding. Uh,
Bleeding,
and,
yes.
and then came back afterwards to finish the movie. So yeah, it's
Sure.
definitely you guys have it tough. It looks, a lot of times it looks like it's just acting, but kind of what goes on behind the scenes, we don't really get
Indeed,
to see that.
you fight through these things. Sometimes you just got to fight through. I was watching a recent audition. I'm sorry, a recent interview with Marty Cove. I think it was 30 plus years going back to the original dojo. Did you see this one?
I saw
Uh,
clips of it. I saw it on YouTube. Yeah.
he was talking about when he had done the part two of the Karate Kid, and he was going through some fever or something like that. He had 102, 103 fever, and he kept walking behind an area, he said, that had a curtain, and he had a jug there with tea because he had to keep hydrated. So all those scenes when he's like, what is the problem, Mr. Lawrence? That whole scene, he had a pretty bad infection. He was working through it. But in those, in these cases, you can't, the show must go on, as they say, and it just it's just incredible what some of these guys do. These guys are true performers, and they just muscle through it.
Yeah.
They just muscle
I,
through it.
I actually had no idea that was the case for Martin Cove.
Indeed.
Um, what was it like, seeing him on set or interacting with him? I love him obviously from Karate Kid 1, 2,
Right.
3, but also from
I
Rambo
didn't.
Part 2.
Yeah. Well, he is, again, decades, and now his son is involved also in the industry, Jesse. But I did not get to see Marty. Unfortunately, we did not run into each other. And that's what happens a lot. A lot of shows, you do different episodes out of sequence, and that's very common. So you don't always necessarily see everybody. And I didn't get to see him at our rap party. As you can see, you did not see me with any pictures with him. He was still working at that time, so they were still doing some final stuff, I believe. But no, I would love to meet him at some point here. But if things were different and we would have a premiere, I'm sure we would all see each other. But that's not the case at this point.
Yeah, Martin Cove is
Maybe
just
in the future.
one of those guys that just reminds you of just Hollywood. He's one of the pioneers and legends. I know he had a
Hmm.
short clip in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but it was just good seeing him
Yeah,
in
sure.
that kind of a movie. Um,
Indeed.
so yeah, I briefly mentioned the original Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, and also the next Karate Kid. What was
Hmm.
your favorite movie out of the Karate Kid franchise?
Oh, number two. Without again, it's like the number two. Empire Strikes Back, Karate Kid 2.
Yeah,
By the time you get to the second installment, you've already seen the original one, and that kind of marinates, and it opens up for new information, and you really I guess you dive deeper into it once the second installments usually come out, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I don't know if you agree with that, but that's just the way I've been able to process a lot of trilogies or multiple
Yeah.
movies in the past.
Yeah, a lot of times, definitely it's up for interpretation, but usually the second is the best. Uh,
Hmm.
like also like The Godfather Part Two, uh,
Oh yeah.
and Godfather One's amazing. Also, I mean, take your pick. But
Hmm.
specifically Karate Kid Two, I mean, we just learned so much about Mr. Miyagi, and it was able to kind of, I think, a major part of what we're seeing in Cobra Kai was built off of what was in Cobra Kai. I'm sorry, in Karate Kid Two. And
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this season. It's really cool that we see in the trailer that Daniel goes back to Okinawa,
Hmm.
and it appears to be Chosen, who we see for that few seconds. I know a lot of the fans are hoping it's Chosen, and it sure looks like it. But yeah, I mean, it seems like we're going to learn some secrets or something from Mr. Miyagi's past that we didn't know, and I don't think we would have been able to get that if it wasn't for Karate Kid 2.
Indeed. What I love the most about the fandom with this franchise, especially this franchise, out of all the projects, they've been so warm. I owe so much of the fans the support. It's just incredible. Uh, just them welcoming into the Cobra Kai family, into the universe, without even seeing my character, what it's about. But I can tell you this: there's enough fandom, enough fan base theories that are out there that can run 100 seasons. It's just incredible, but just the creative side of so many fans that they just come out. I see it in social media with fantastic drawings from Adelson from Brazil. He's a fantastic artist. Susan Gallagher just had a contest with the Homeless Lynn pictures. What's the new picture for her brand? I mean, there's just so many different things, so many different dojos and podcasts, and it's just amazing. It's just so amazing that I mean, the fans they should get a nod for this whole thing because again, we do this for the fans, but the fans kind of are the fuel behind it all because these series do not do well without the fans backing them up. So thank you all.
Yeah, no, and we appreciate the work and content that you guys obviously make for us, and yeah, I mean it's kind of with Cobra Kai coming out to Netflix. I actually joined YouTube Red because of Cobra Kai, and then it turns into to premium. So a lot of the fans that are watching on Netflix now, it's like, yeah, I've been telling you guys about Cobra Kai.
Right?
It's such a brilliant show, and I know I'm really excited. A lot of the fans are excited that it is coming out. The first week of I think it was January 8th. And
Hmm.
we don't have to wait until the spring or the summer. I
Right.
know a lot of folks are crossing their fingers that maybe we'll get season 3 and season 4 next year, hopefully by the holiday season. So we'll see about that. Um, Rick, I did have a few questions that I got from the fans, and I promise they're all
Sure.
nice. So Rick, what are some of your? I know we talked about this earlier, but what are some of your all-time favorite movies?
Well, I've always loved the Godfathers. You did touch base on that. So 1 and 2, huge for me as an aspiring emerging actor. Those are my master classes I go to, and I revisit those on a monthly basis. To be honest with you, I sit in my theater where you see me at right now. I'll just pop in the DVD and just watch these these actors just make movie history and constantly picking out little knowledge nuggets how I can improve my craft. So that's one for sure, The Godfather. And on HBO, The Sopranos, another tremendous series. I think that and I've been able to be blessed to actually interact with a lot of those folks who were on the show who are still alive. Um, the late great James Gandolfini was a huge inspiration to me to becoming an actor. If you recall, he played Tony Soprano on the series,
Sopranos is my
and
favorite show.
oh my goodness, I can't say. So those two right there, by far, incredible. Breaking Bad, I'm a big Breaking Bad fan. I love my action movies, like my Indiana Jones series and what have you. Those just always blew me away as a kid.
Yeah.
To name a few. To name
Perfect.
a few.
I feel like we may have known each other our whole lives. You just named my favorite movies and TV shows.
Sure.
Sopranos is my all-time favorite TV show. I
Oh,
probably rewatched it 100
love it.
times, and that's not an exaggeration. Yeah, actually, I don't know if you had a chance to see some of my earlier interviews. I did an interview with Chris Caldovino, who played Billy Leotardo. He was Frank
Mm-hmm.
Vincent's brother. Remember in season 5,
Mm-hmm.
he got
Of
killed
course.
by Steve Buscemi, and he was also in Boardwalk
Mm-hmm.
Empire. And
Yes.
also John Fiore, who was Gigi in season
Mm-hmm.
2, 3, and then he did an appearance in 5.
Sure.
Yeah, both really really nice guys. That was awesome. Seeing guys that just on my favorite show and kind of interacting with them and just really down to earth and awesome guys. And
It's incredible. And those shows like Cobra Kai, I'm very fortunate, and a lot of us can speak on the same terms that once you get I've known actors throughout my short career that they've done so many different projects. But when you get lucky enough to get that one project that really takes off like that, like this one, and we're so grateful to the writers that believe in us to give us these opportunities, even just to be a small part of such a grand vision. It's just a wonderful experience. And we're just very grateful because you look at, just see even a show like Sopranos, you'll see some actors and you say, man, that was 15 years ago. And you remember them starting there and they've taken off into different directions. You're like, wow, where did they get their start? Cobra Kai may be my origin part that people really say, okay, and I'm grateful for it. We all are. Even just like I said, a small part of that, it's part of movie history now, and it's going to take off tremendously now that it's on Netflix. We're really excited for the fans.
And Rick, aside from acting, do you do any writing at all, or do you have a passion for wanting to write?
Yes, great question. I do have a couple of stories under my cap that
Okay.
I would love to partner up with some folks to do something on Netflix. But that's just a passion I've had, and I have these things just shelved. And when the time comes, I'm sure they'll come out at some point once we get enough people. And that's what it is in this business. You network with folks, and
Yeah.
some people start with acting and end up producers or directors and what have you, and maybe they become better directors and actors. I mean, that could happen to anybody, but we all kind of still, the one commonality is that we have those creative juices that we all share and wanting to create great art, great experiences for the viewers. And that's what it boils down to. Is that's where the real pleasure, the passion is. The drive for me is to create great content, whether it be performing or behind the scenes. Um, that makes sense.
That's great. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, just with, doing this and obviously meeting, actors and aspiring screenwriters as well. I
Sure.
actually, have a passion for screenwriting and trying to, better my craft. But yeah, a lot of actors, I mean, have, especially during these times have came up with, some good writing, credits and, with different avenues like Amazon Studios, Netflix. There's just
Hmm.
different ways to get things produced, and basically there's more opportunities to see more of this
Sure.
content now, which is great.
Can you imagine what's happening right now as we speak during this whole pandemic? The amount of content that hasn't even been, let out of the can yet. I mean, there's so many different projects in the works, I'm sure, within what you see out there now with sequels or backstories or what have you. There's tons of material. So this was, a time that this could happen, and I don't think it could happen any other time. So I think in the upcoming years, we're going to see some tremendous works being brought onto the screen for sure.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. Just alone with obviously some of the stuff that's getting pushed to later this year, but
Hmm.
now with everyone just being home, and I feel like they've been able to kind of spend more time with their families. That
Hmm.
during that time they were also cranking away their craft, and so yeah, I feel like we're going to get some really really good movies in the next 3, 4, 5, and even 10 years just off of what was created today during this time.
Sure. Sure.
So the next question that we got, who will Rick Perez play in season 3? So obviously you can't share that, but what can you tell us with as far as anything that you can tell us?
Well, we know his name is Roger. That's no secret.
Yeah.
Who Roger is to be seen. I can't really say anything. Again, we're bound by those NDAs, but I can only say that his contribution to the show would be, I guess, fitting for the show. It fits well with the show. That same type of excitement and what have you that is brought to the show to the writers. And each one of us share that same commonality. We bring in something unique. What I love about the show the most, just to delve a little deeper into it, is the fact that this particular show goes off on small little story arcs with all different characters, and that's why I think it's that much more special, because you can only talk about the whole Daniel and Johnny situation so much. Then you have your secondary core characters, and you have your tertiary that could be the other character actors. But that's what makes it interesting, that particular show, that it does that. You see it in a lot of other shows too that have that magic, like Better Call Saul. Are you a big Better Call Saul fan?
Love that show.
Okay. So if you can see, you have 3 or 4 different storylines happening at the same time. So you don't get just fixated on one thing and kind of see that and almost become predictable. You see that story arc and say, I know what's going to happen. But then you see what's happening with Mike, and then you see what's happening. Oh, is Jesse going to come back on? But then you see what's happening with Saul Goodman. That's kind of how Cobra Kai is as well. And you see that from the first 2 seasons, you start seeing little snippets of people coming back. And I hope to be one of those people as well, but you never know. It's all about what the writers want and what the show calls for. Yeah. But at the end, I'm just happy to be part of what I was part of for that time, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I know you mentioned, kind of the like the sub characters kind of having a deeper storyline. What's also been kind of, and again, I don't know, these are just rumors, but what I've been reading is that there might be a story, like a prequel, where it's a younger Mr. Miyagi, maybe basically creating spin-offs off of Cobra Kai. Maybe
sure.
A young Mr. Miyagi, or, taking some of these, other characters and kind of building a story off of that. So no, definitely every role has its own contribution, and, these writers
that would be cool.
Creative.
Oh, these guys are the best. I mean, the big 3 are the best I've ever worked with, I've ever had the pleasure of working with. But yeah, that would be cool. I mean, as a fan, I'd love to see some backstories. I mean, even as a kid, thinking about like The Mandalorian, let's go back into that. Yeah. For years, I mean, I'm talking in the 80s, people were thinking about, man, they should have a Boba Fett movie. And they were talking about stuff like that. And who'd have thunk that the whole Mandalorian race or that whole culture became its own, it took on a life of its own. And look what it's doing. I mean, it's incredible. You have Jon Favreau behind that. I mean, what a genius. I mean, you don't get better than that. And it's very telling, because you had some fans like myself, the OG fans of Star Wars like yourself. You love the original canon. Then it kind of changed a bit with Disney taking over. Well, I think they took all the fans that like myself, the original ones, with The Mandalorian, and just, they get my vote just on that show alone and the direction it's taken, because who knows how many, we heard about the Obi-Wan backstory coming out too. There's a whole bunch of other things happening. So I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No. These are some of my favorite topics. I love talking to you about this. What were your thoughts of the new trilogy that came out? Did you get a chance to watch the new Star Wars movies?
No, absolutely. The acting, the actors, again, great actors they brought in there. I was, I have my I didn't really did I give it away by my expression there? I wish George Lucas, in my opinion, was behind it more, if you will. I know he had a lot of say, but not so much say, and you can see it's different, from where the original ones were with this one. I like to, in my mind, keep it at the prequels were okay. You know what I mean? With George Lucas, how he ended with the prequels.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with just that, and then do all the Disney stuff that you see now with The Mandalorian. That would have been a better way to go, in my opinion. But
yeah,
who am I?
Yeah, no, definitely. You just felt early on that it was just it was in different hands. When you saw The Force Awakens, and I walked out of the theater, great movie, but it just felt like it was in different hands. And one of the disappointments that I had was that every movie just had you feeling like it was incomplete, like we were waiting for what was going to happen. And I guess for me at least, the reward wasn't worth the wait, so to speak. But each movie was entertaining. I'm sorry, yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm just thinking outside the box. I'm applying that same mentality to like The Resident when I filmed The Resident. So I did like 6 episodes of The Resident. And on The Resident, you had different directors for every show. Now, here's where The Resident's a great show, and it'll work with different directors. The different directors still work with the same storyline. The writers were the same, you see. And that's why the feel of it is always, wow, it's like a thrill ride every week. What's going to happen? but the directors just give you a different take on it. Maybe they may want the camera on this angle. They feel that it should be a better, from the gurney, if you will, looking outwards. They may have their say with that, but still the content is the same. Now, what happened, in my opinion, you may agree or disagree, but with Disney, you had different writers. So you didn't have George Lucas behind each one, and you could see there was continuity. With the other writers, great. It's a great spin on each one, but you kind of lose, in my opinion, you lose a little bit of the cadence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Even though they were great content, but the cadence was off, and the viewer gets a little confused because you're like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
and you kind of sometimes get disappointed.
Yeah, and you can just kind of see, while these movies were in production, there was new teams coming in and writers were being, fired, and there was new folks coming in, new directors. So there was just a little bit of turmoil. And then Mark Hamill was kind of, venting a little bit, before the second of the new trilogy came out. But
Sure.
yeah, so we'll see. I think what Disney's doing now with like the Mandalorian and some of these spin-offs. For example, I thought Rogue One was actually really good. Rogue One,
Yes.
that
was probably the best one of
yeah.
all the yeah, agreed.
And I know
Solo was okay. Solo was good.
Solo was really good. Solo was really
Mm-hmm.
good. Those spin-off movies kind of feel like Mandalorian series. Like they kind of had their own touch. So yeah, no, that's good. Did have one more question from the fans. So
Sure.
what is a secret that no one knows about Rick Perez?
Oh boy.
Biggest secret.
Somebody asked me that. Somebody asked me that. I had hair. No. I was a semi-pro bowler when I was younger. Somebody did ask me that question. What is it? I was a semi-pro bowler. I did love the bowling. Back in New York, when I was in my 20s, my dad was a pro bowler, and he taught me everything. And I kind of, went with it for a while until I kind of hurt my shoulder and got a little older and got married and kind of put that away, because as a pro bowler, you have to kind of go on tour and just focus on that. And you're going from city to city. But yeah, bowling of all things, right? Who would have thought?
Awesome. I hate myself if I didn't ask, because we mentioned, or you mentioned a little bit on Breaking Bad and Boardwalk, and I'm sorry, Better Call Saul. I think you'd be perfect for Better Call Saul. And apologies if you've done an episode, but have you thought about auditioning for any? I think next season's the last one.
I have. It is. I have auditioned actually for Better Call Saul for a couple of characters.
Yeah.
And again, just in this business, most actors will tell you the same thing. You put it out there and you set it out there. The casting directors always have who they want already. They know who that person is. They just have to see the auditions in front of them. They may have a certain look that they're looking for in combination. It's not always about the delivery. I mean, you have to still be able to deliver your lines in a very authentic way, but they already have in their mind's eye who that person is. So I have tried out for that show. I've tried out for a bunch of other projects. Right now, I just tried out for a Marvel movie. So there's a lot of things happening right now in Atlanta. But you get picked, and if you do, you give it 1,000%, and you just have fun doing it.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see you. And actually, speaking on that, can you share with us kind of what upcoming projects that you have wrapped up, or what's coming out this year, early next year?
Yeah, so I just wrapped. We just did a thriller action movie in Savannah, Georgia. It's going to be, well, we don't know where it's going to land. It could be Netflix, it could be Lifetime, but it's a great movie coming out. I do play. Can I say I don't play a bad guy this time? This is good. I usually play bad guys, angry guys, and what have you. I always make fun of myself, but this one, I think I vindicate myself a little bit in this movie, and I do all my own stunts in this one. So I came out a bit bruised, but had so much fun doing it. Had some great actors working with it, and it should be coming out, I would say, first quarter of next year, we hope. The title, it's always a working title, and those things change. I've done movies before that they've changed 2 and 3 times depending on who picks it up. But it's gonna be out there, and it's a lot of. I had a lot of fun doing it, for sure.
That's great. No, we're definitely excited to see your upcoming projects. Really excited to see the upcoming season of Cobra Kai and seeing what your role is. Yeah, there's a lot of you actually have a lot of theories on who you're going to play, and the fans
a lot of theories.
Excited.
I have seen things. I mean, I'm sure you can spew them out of this. tons of them. There's one main one that people are all chanting, hoping for. But again, we'll see January 8th, for the world to see on January 8th. I'm just excited, like I said, to be a small part of a grand vision of the big three. It was just a lot of fun, for sure. I hope to be back.
Excellent, excellent. And Rick, I can talk to you personally for hours just on the topics that we talked about. I want to be respectful of your
Likewise.
time. I'd really love to do this again sometime, possibly.
Please.
Maybe right after Cobra Kai comes out, or maybe right before. If you want to discuss some upcoming projects, I'm really excited that you took the time out of your day to meet with me, and just want to say,
it's my pleasure.
Bottom of my heart, really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Zay. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun doing it as well. And yeah, maybe we could do a post after season 3 airs. We can do that, and there's could be a lot of folks. I know there's a lot I have already kind of signed up with to speak afterwards. When they've been waiting, trust me, they've been waiting for a long time to get me on there. But I'm glad we were able to talk about things other than Cobra Kai, which was nice to discuss with you and your fans. And again, I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for your support. It's much appreciated.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.
You too. Take care, Zaya. Bye-bye.